Hi designers, my name is Jeff Alley, and I'm the creator of a game called The Valley. Currently, I am playtesting the prototype, getting it ready for the theming phase. I am looking for an illustrator to help me design the cards and to illustrate the images on each of those cards. The game focuses on multiple scouting parties that have all coincidentally ended up in the same valley. These enemy scouting parties are disconnected from their main army, and they're trying desperately and humorously to send a message back for reinforcements. Each player takes control over a unique party, and the first one to send a message to their main army wins the game. Before we get into the gameplay, I wanted to talk a little bit about what the game is centered on. As you can see, I have a prototype card in my hand. The title of this card is Rations. This goes perfectly with the theme because scouting parties would have rations. Now, the game that I've designed is centered on card activation. And basically what that means is there's going to be a number at the top of the card, and when you roll a dice that matches that number, this card is activated. So if I roll a 2 or a 3, I'm going to get +1 food. Something else to pay attention to is the color of the card. If this card was red, only I would benefit from it, or the roller only. If the card is blue, everyone benefits from it. So if anybody rolls a 2 or a 3 at the beginning of the game, everybody's rations card is activated. The purpose of the game is to balance out all the cards that you purchase to both attack other players, defend against attacks, gather resources, while trying to reach the main goal. Here's a partially set up game from one person's perspective. The first thing I want to focus on is the Valley set of cards. These cards represent all that the Valley has to offer, and players are competing for these cards. Now, for the prototype, I came up with funny things like Duck Pond, Honey Hive, and Pine Trees. As we theme this game, we will come up with better ideas than this. But these cards represent what the Valley has to offer. So I might be able to spend some energy or food and get a blueberry patch. Now, if a 2, a 3, or a 5 is rolled, I receive a benefit. For the prototype, we basically have 2 resources. One is red, which represents food. The other is blue, which represents what we call raw, as in raw materials. Now, these cards that are displayed can be purchased by anyone. When one is purchased, another one is flipped over and replaces it. The next part I want to focus on is the Scout deck. Now, the Scout deck is specific to each player with its own theme. So let's say one player is playing as a human deck and another player is playing as a goblin deck. Each will have their own play style. Now, like the Valley deck, the Scout deck also has a few cards displayed that are purchasable. So on my turn, I could choose a card that helps me gather resources from the Valley, or I can choose something specific to either scoring victory points for the end goal, playing defense, or attacking. Now, we've talked about red cards, how they're only activated on the roller's turn, and we've talked about blue cards, which are activated on anyone's turn. The yellow cards are only activated on a defensive roll. So if, say, someone has ambush and they roll a 7 and they attack me with an ambush card, I have a chance to roll a dice to activate a defensive card. Something else that's unique about this deck of cards is that there's characters that represent the party leader. Now, this is nothing too crazy, but there will be 4 or 5 leaders in each deck, and at the beginning of the game, you'll randomly draw a leader. All the leader does is give you a specific benefit that will change your gameplay. The last thing I want to point out before I show you a player turn is the achievement cards. Now, earlier in the Scout deck, I showed you that you could buy a card that gives you victory points only. As you score victory points, you unlock certain cards. So, once I have 4 victory points, I may unlock this card, which now allows me to roll 2 dice. When I have 9 victory points, it gives me a benefit of 3 raw and 3 food. Next, I can re-roll on defense. Finally, if I unlock the fourth one, I win the game. Now, these two will be theme specific. So maybe one person's trying to send a pigeon to their army. These will all deal with sending a pigeon to the main army, going with the theme of the game. A player's turn is pretty simple. Basically, there's two parts. First, you roll, and I rolled a 2, so it activates rations. So I gather 1 food. The second part of my turn is to determine if I want to purchase anything. Now, there's a lot of cards with a lot of different costs from the Valley and from my scouting deck. The important thing is I'm trying to win the game by sending a message to my army. But at the same time, I'm trying to defend, and I'm also trying to gather resources. So the second part of my turn deals with purchasing something. I love playing games with my friends and family, but often these games that I loved the first or second time I played them become boring to me. As I learn the strategy and I've seen all the cards, I no longer want to play it. The game I'm creating is designed for replay value, and I'm going to tell you a few reasons why that is. First, each deck is unique to itself. So every single party member or every single player playing its own party is different. The gameplay is different. The theme is different. The pictures are different. It's fun for the player to play as a specific race, for instance. The second thing that I've done is I've added leaders to each deck. So at the beginning of the game, you randomly draw one of 5 leaders. So one game you might play as humans with leader 3. The next game you might play as the goblins with leader 4, creating a different game type every time you play. Finally, the third thing I've done is the Valley deck for this base game is interchangeable. So as expansions come out or as new ideas come out, that Valley deck can be replaced by, say, a Mountain Pass deck, changing up the resources and, again, the gameplay. Let me give you a current status of the Valley. We've already come up with the idea that we really like and that we are focusing on, and then we have the game mechanics down. We've been playtesting it, and we have plenty of playtests to go. Then we want to theme each deck and design the cards. Game craft it by actually making it feel more like a real game, outside of just index cards and crayons. Then we're going to playtest more and continually fix and improve, and then we're hoping to put it on Kickstarter. I am super excited about this game. I've seen a lot of progress with it, and every time we play it, we make it a little bit better. The game mechanics are almost done, and I think that the aesthetics to it and the theming of the individual decks are really going to make this game special. I'm looking for anyone that can help brainstorm the different races or the different themes, and I'm also looking for someone that can help illustrate those cards. This is a great opportunity to build your portfolio and maybe make some money on the side with it. I appreciate you taking time to watch this, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.